Was this a good game for the Colorado Avalanche? No. Was this a game that the Avs played well at 5-on-5? No. Was this a game where you would expect them to win in the playoffs if they played like this? No. But this was a game that the Colorado Avalanche won, and for the first 10 games of the season, that is what people have been asking them to do. Doesn't have to be pretty, but they have to find ways to win. And they found a way to win against Vancouver tonight. Avs win over the Vancouver Canucks 4-2.
Alex Newhook!
Oh boy.
Whoa!
Look, I don't think the Avs played particularly well for a long stretch of this game, but ultimately that doesn't matter. It's just the 2 points at the end of the night. And even with some of the negatives in this game, on the whole, it's still a positive. There are a bunch of good things to take from a game where the Avs didn't play great, but still won. The first period looked good. The Avs played quality hockey at least for the first 10 to 15 minutes of it. They were controlling the game and getting rewarded for it. They get a power play opportunity, and the big names you expect to produce manage to get the job done on the power play. So there's a lot of lead up to this shot that essentially boils down to, if you lose your stick, just go get another one. You're just not correct if you don't. And this ends up leading to first a chance from Makar out up high, who's going to rip one off of the post. Unfortunately can't finish. Mikko gets the puck right back as the rebound comes right to him. Recognizes he has space on this side. He's going to take advantage of it, and then just puts a great shot on net. It's not an overpowering shot, but it's a perfectly placed shot on the blocker's side, and perfectly timed to come right after Landy scoots across and is a perfect eye screen. Really tough for a goalie to stop that one. So you take that win, right? You have to be able to look at the positive things in the game. And the Avs power play was a massive positive as they end up going 3 for 5 in a total on the night. There was a power play that was bad as well, but you cannot pick out only the negatives without looking at the positives, and there were enough positives in this game for the Avs to win. And honestly, the Avs had a number of good chances in the first period. Had they finished a little bit better, they probably could have ran away with this game, but the pucks didn't go in, and it's 1-0 after 1. The second period was not good by any stretch of the imagination for the Avs. They had another post, so that brings it up to 14 on the season on the bad side. But more importantly, Vancouver came out and pushed back. And that's to be expected. The Avs were the better team in the first period. They got the goal. Teams push back. They're quality hockey players, it turns out, in the NHL. So you can expect that a little bit. But it was more than just that. Vancouver was pushing, and the Avs were not countering by any stretch of the imagination. They weren't working hard, they weren't winning the puck battles, they weren't controlling the puck particularly well, and Vancouver pounced on that for pretty much the entirety of the second period. Funny how the team that seems to be working harder is the team that ends up scoring. Alright, this happens well before the goal, but I want to showcase it because Vancouver never should have had possession on this puck. Kemper comes out to play this as Girard is tracking it down, and they don't talk at all. They kind of sort of look at each other, I guess, and don't really know what to do. So eventually Kemper just sweeps it to no one in the corner instead of potentially passing it up to Newhook or Murray or leaving it in a safer position for Girard. Any of those three would have worked had they communicated in any way. Even a simple shout of telling him where to go with it behind the net, whatever, could have worked. Instead, it's not a clean possession for Girard, and the Avs end up losing the puck possession, which leads to chaos in the defensive zone. As the Avs scramble around, the puck bounces around, they get away with it for a little while, but then just insanity happens in front of the net, and sometimes bounces aren't going to go your way. The initial shot gets blocked by Murray, but the bounce comes right back to Garland. Again, second opportunity to come in front, bounces around crazy, ends up on the stick of the Canucks, and Kemper has to keep him honest here. He has to stick with this one, but the puck instead gets floated out to space, and Garland is right there to finish it off. It's just a nonsense chaos play that never needed to happen. Alright, look, that miscommunication is a little bit silly, kind of messy, the type of thing that the Avs really need to clean up at this point in the season. You can't be having stupid mistakes like that at the start of a play that led to a goal. But even then, there's a whole lot of nonsense going on in that play with the puck bouncing in and around the front of the net. So the Avs aren't making it easy to score goals on them, even when they aren't playing particularly well. And a lot of that comes down to Darcy Kuemper, who played absolutely great tonight. I have zero complaints. That's not true. I have one complaint from Darcy Kuemper, which we'll get to. But on the whole, Darcy Kuemper really gave the Avs the opportunity to win this game, and for once, I get to say that in a video where the Avs actually took advantage of that opportunity. So the Avs end the second period, where they get this mess of a power play opportunity, where a bunch of things happen, it results in a 4-on-3, and they don't get the job done. That power play was awful. They did not move their feet, they did not accomplish much at all, they settled for terrible shots, it was just bad. But for whatever reason, they got that one out of their system, and their power plays later were rock solid. So the Avs get out of the second period, a bad period for them, and it's still a tie game. Got away with one a little bit, maybe. An opportunity to take it to Vancouver in the third period and put this game away. The exact opposite of that happens. Vancouver scores first 90 seconds into the third. Nothing really to break down on this play. Poolman is going to take a shot from out high that is a routine save for a goalie pretty much every single time. And Kuemper does save the puck, but it takes a funny bounce, and with him being tied up with multiple players, it bounces over his pad and in behind him, and he loses it. He doesn't know where it is. His initial move back there, you saw with the leg, kicks it. And even that, this puck was going to stop before the goal line. It wasn't going to go directly in, but Kuemper, scrambling to find it, ends up knocking it in with his own blocker. Just brutal. Yeah, so that's a terrible goal to give up from Darcy Kuemper. But when you put it into the context of this game, first of all, the Avs won, so it ultimately didn't end up mattering. And I know it's hard to look at things from that light, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, no matter how it got made. But more importantly, yes, it's a terrible goal, but Darcy only gave up 2 in this hockey game, including the bad one. So you want to see him clean that up. But any night where your goaltender gives up 2 or less, you have to feel good about your chances to win. And Darcy posts a .941 save percentage in this one with giving up those 2 goals. So you cannot fault him all that much. For that goal in a vacuum, yes, but the rest of the game, he was lights out. Thankfully, the Canucks love taking penalties, and they take one very shortly after the goal, and the Avs convert it. Avs keep a play alive here as Burakovsky kind of airmails a shot. It goes wide. Kadri's able to fight for it. Landy fights for it. Eventually, they get possession back, and good recognition from Berkey to get a puck across to Mikko. You see Mikko score these all the time, but it's not meant to be as he fires this one into Demko. Comes right out for what should be an automatic goal for Landeskog with the entire net to shoot at. He completely fans on it, but is able to recollect it and just throw it towards the center of the ice, where it comes to Nazem Kadri. Kadri able to chip this one home. Just right man in the right spot. Good hard work. Even if it was messy, gets the job done. And then Kadri gets absolutely run over by JT Miller on a play that is gross, and I'll leave it at that. Look, we are at a point right now where Nazem Kadri is the best player on this hockey team. And that's not going to last unless terrible things happen and the best players on the team continue to get hurt. But for as long as he's this hot, you just keep riding his hand and living the dream. And here's the thing. I think we know that Kadri's capable of being a number 1 center. Probably not a number 1 center on a cup contending team, but a serviceable number 1 center that if he stays hot is capable of producing a 70+ point season. So it's a bit funny, even with the Avs losing McKinnon and Compher and having a bunch of question marks at their center depth, they still have someone of Kadri's caliber to step up and honestly put the team on his back at times, especially since McKinnon has gone down. Look, all I'm saying is Kadri is good, alright? We can agree on that. One penalty wasn't enough for Vancouver. Quinn Hughes, who gets hit into the boards by Sam Girard, a clean hit, decides to cross-check him a bit later and break his stick over his back. So that happened. Not even going to talk about the nonsense after the Kadri goal. You saw it on the clip. I think it speaks for itself. Just not talking about the refs tonight. Either way, the Avs end up on a power play, 4-on-3 style, and this time it actually converts thanks to, if Nazem Kadri's not the best player on the team, Cale Makar might be. Avs are going to win the face-off off of the initial play, and it goes back to Taves in a weird 4-on-3 situation where the Avs opt to run Kadri, Landeskog, Taves, and Makar. So no Rantanen out there for this particular play because he's in the penalty box for those matching minors because, you know, those happened. Anyway, Makar basically can do whatever he wants with all this space. He plays a little pitch and catch with Taves and then loads up for the one-timer, and he's Cale Makar, so even one-timers he just scores on because he's that good. Look, I'm not saying Cale Makar is going to score 20 goals this season, but I am saying he's on 20-goal pace right now. That one his third of the season. And I want to put this into a little bit of perspective with Makar because he's missed games with injury this season. It's clear he's been playing through some stuff and may not even be 100% healthy right now. And even with all of that, when you look at point per game metrics, he's still in the top 15 for defensemen in the league. It's just absurd how high this guy's ceiling is and just how good he is at the game of hockey, even when he's not at his best. Yes, he had a pretty quiet night for most of this hockey game, but when the Avs needed it, he showed up and he scores the game-winning goal. The dude is just unbelievable. I am so happy that I get to say that for the foreseeable future of my life covering this hockey team. The Avs retaking the lead, that's when things started to feel pretty routine all of a sudden. For the first time this year with a 1-goal lead in the third period, it seemed like the Avs were comfortable. They took care of their business, they got done what they needed to do, and they get rewarded with an empty netter to get you to your 4-2 final, the captain putting it home. And it's easy to sit here and look at the bad parts of the game and say, oh, well, the Avs blew a 1-goal lead and were trailing in the third. And they did do that, and it cannot continue to happen. But at the same time, they also came back in the third and it did the thing. So, yes, it's not perfect. It's not even pretty, but it's a win. And the Avs finding ways to win instead of finding ways to lose now. And the fact that they looked comfortable doing it at the end, I think that's critical. These sloppy imperfections, you forget sometimes that the Avs are missing Nathan McKinnon. They're missing Bowen Byram. They're missing JT Compher. And they're still winning hockey games. Who cares what it looks like? And it's gonna look better just by getting players back in the lineup healthy, let alone them working on their problems. So, look, at the 10-game mark, things were concerning. I said time was up and the Avs had to figure it out. We're now at game 13 and the Avs have won 3 in a row. So it seems like they have figured it out. They're on a winning streak. They still have other weak teams to play coming up in their schedule. They can start rallying off a couple more. The first 10 games of the season are going to seem like a year ago. It's that simple. Do they look like cup contenders? Maybe you say no, but nobody wins a cup in October or November. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. Head on over to thednvr.com for all of our coverage. Still working on the lighting. Sorry if it was a little bit of a weird video. I'm using the new camera now, so gotta dial in the settings a little bit. We'll see if I can't improve it. But I am Rudo, and don't I look nice in HD? It's okay. I know I don't.
Avalanche time, come on, grab your friends. We're going to the playoffs again with Nate the dog and Gabe the